CTV's coverage of the 2002 Sears Figure Skating Open from Red Deer, Alberta. And of course, there's very special significance about having this event here this year. As you know by now, it is the hometown of Olympic champion Jamie Salé, and she is loving being here at home where the pressure's off, certainly a lot more than it was 10 months ago, that night in Salt Lake City at the Olympics and all the aftermath that followed. Debbie Wilkes had a chance to sit down with the Olympic champions, Jamie Salé and David Pelletier, and talk to them about their lives since the Olympics and their future in the sport. Here now is part one of a two-part interview.
Jamie and David, this is the first time you've competed since the Olympics. Here we are back in Red Deer. Jamie, what is that like for you?
It's really special for me because I haven't actually been to Red Deer, I think, in 2 years now. I visited my brother a couple times, but skated, I haven't actually been on the ice in 2 years. And there's a lot of people I'm really excited to see. And I'm looking forward to, you know, obviously post-Olympics, everybody's really excited too, and I'm looking forward to feeling the energy on the ice. It'll be great.
When you're walking down the main street, do people stop and talk to you? What do they say? The main street?
Well, it'll be interesting because we've gotten recognized pretty much wherever we go, and even New York City and Chicago and places we didn't even expect it. So it'll be interesting in Red Deer, but, you know, everybody's really been great. I mean, even here in Edmonton, it's, you know, people are just kind of walk by and say congratulations, or, you know, they'll ask for your autograph. But I don't imagine I'll be totally mobbed in Red Deer. Everybody will just be excited, I think.
Is this the first time your family has seen you since the Olympics? Seen you skate since the Olympics?
No, because...
I guess at your homecoming.
Yeah, we did a homecoming show, but... see, I only have my brother left in Red Deer, too, so he hasn't really seen me skate live, but I'm making him come to the show.
Now, Dave, how do you feel? I mean, Jamie is such a big star naturally in Red Deer. Do you feel like you're just her partner?
I think it's exciting for her. If I put myself in her shoes, I would be very excited, too. There'll be a lot of our friends in the stands, people from Edmonton, a lot of friends, skaters that train with us every day. I'll feel the excitement too. I don't think when it'll be time to do the job, she'll think, you know, oh, we're in Red Deer, but it makes it extra special for us to go back there and compete for the first time. Well, I say compete, but perform. I'd rather use the word perform now in my life than compete. So it makes it even more special.
Well, we're doing something special with this interview, too. On the tsn.ca website, we have invited your fans to drop and write in some questions. So we're going to kind of go through them, if you don't mind. Sure. And I have to tell you that of all the questions asked, there is one that, like, outnumbered everything else. And I'm sure you could never imagine what it was.
When are we getting married?
No, close. What's your middle name?
My middle name?
Your middle name.
Wow.
I know it.
Are you going to tell us?
Well,
it's French.
Yeah, it's a French name.
Popular French name.
It's the same name as my dad, and the story goes like this. When I got, how do you say that?
When you were born?
No, but when you go
Christened?
to... Yeah, that one. The priest asked what was going to be my middle name, and my mom had no idea, so she looked at my dad. She said, it's going to be Jacques, like my dad. So that's my middle name, David Jacques Pelletier.
Well, have you sort of tried to keep it secret all these years or something? Why are your fans so rabid about knowing what your middle name is?
I have to ask this question to the fans because I don't see why it's so interesting. I mean, I don't use it. I'm not ashamed of it. It's useless. It's a middle name.
Well, now we have the answer, so everybody can rest.
All right.
But let's proceed. I mean, lots of really good skaters set high goals for themselves, and very few of them achieve what you have achieved. And I think it's because there was something right from the first day I saw you skate together. There was some kind of buzz, some kind of magic, and I think that that's what the skating world saw too.
Well, yes. When we skate, we feel something. Maybe not what people were seeing, but what I felt when the first time I skated with Jamie and was that everything felt easy. I didn't have to worry about her. She was a performer, she still is. She was a grown-up, she was very confident in herself, but we had, see, the first year we skated together, we didn't really talk. Our communication was, I think, our weakest point. You know, we didn't know each other that well.
Just because of language?
Language also, but you know, for me, I didn't need to communicate whatever I felt, and it was one thing that was lacking in our relationship on the ice. So, but it doesn't matter because even when we skated, everything was easy. And if I remember well, Kamloops, I remember the short program, and I just remember going out there and not to worry about anything for the first time in my life. It was a very comfortable feeling. And same for the long. I didn't worry about anything except myself. And I knew she was going to be all right. I knew she was going to perform. That's, you know, it's, for the first time in my career, I really experienced what it was like to skate with somebody as good as Jamie.
Ditto.
No, there is a warmth, definitely, that we all feel in just being around you. Let's skip over the 4 years after Kamloops, and let's land in Salt Lake City. This is your opportunity. It's the first, I think, at least Canadian broadcast where you are able to give us some of your side of the story. There's been a lot of talk, as you are aware, in the media about problems that you had, management problems, that you missed opportunities. I mean, I think that, I don't know whether it was all true or not, but here is your chance to set the record straight. What would you like to say?
You really want to know?
Yeah,
No,
we
we'll
really
be honest
want to
with
know.
you. I mean, we have nothing to hide. We've always been honest people, and we've never, you know, we've done it our way, but it's always been because of who we are, and we want to be real and true to ourselves and to our sport. And we just, you know, things always happen for a reason. And I'll start with that first, and then I'll go back and explain sort of a roundabout way of what happened. But, you know, we realized this summer that what we went through after the Olympics was the best thing for us. And similar to the time when I was doing singles for 3 years and I was waiting to skate with David, I went through some really tough times. But I used it as a learning experience, and I grew so much from that and matured a lot. And then I was ready to skate with him in '98. And this summer, when that happened to us, where we weren't touring and we were hearing all these things about us, it was a similar situation for me, a same feeling that I was getting, and that hurt me again. But I used it as a positive thing, and I said, you know what, we've got to do a lot of great things this summer. We did a lot of charity work. Well, they were celebrity golf tournaments, but they were for charities. We spoke to children at schools. We've sort of went out and tried to do a little bit of public speaking with Peter Lowe International, and that was stepping out of our comfort zone for sure, and not just skating. We did do some ice shows, but not a lot. And it also gave us a peace of mind of just, you know what, we had a great career, amateur career together, and we also turned professional. So we needed to sort of sit back and take the time to, you know, really decide on if that's really what we want to do. And we knew it was, because we had accomplished our goals, but it still takes time. That's not something you sit down and say, okay, yeah, we're going to turn professional now. And just to breathe. We have never had a summer off, I think, in 20 years. I don't remember the last summer I had off. And I mean off meaning not traveling around the world or competing or, you know, running around trying to get my programs choreographed. And we had the best time.
I'm going to try to get right to the meat of it here. And please feel free to say we'd rather not. Your agent, Craig Fennick, was not a skating person, did not have skating experience, and I don't mean being on the ice, I mean dealing with the skating world. Mm-hmm. Do you think that that was perhaps at the root of some of the idea problems?
It was the root. And obviously we had say too, but it was, again, it was a really big learning experience for both of us because we were sitting at home doing this, going, we're Olympic champions and we're sitting at home. This is not right. And we became very quickly miserable at home briefly after the Olympics because we knew that everybody else was on tour. And that bothered us a lot. So we had to make some decisions, and we realized where the root of the problem was. And I'm not pointing fingers at one particular person only, but I mean, he was to look after us, and things were not happening. So we made a phone call, and we explained what was going on, and he basically said, I guess I can't do anything for you anymore. And so he quit. And we were happy with that because we felt that we were better off at that time dealing with certain people or skating shows on our own because they only wanted to talk to us after what had happened. So we were fine with that, and we've got a great person. We've had a great person in our lives I have for 8 years, and Dave's met him over the last year and become quite close with him. Our new manager now, Bob Stedward. He was my sports psychologist for a long time and a retired professor from U of A, and he's just like a dad to us, and he cares about us and our personal interests and our health. So,
but you know, Debbie, I have a different point of view on it, and maybe it was the case, but I'm not so sure. I feel that you don't have to have an agent that knows really the skating world to be well represented. I think it's all in the way you treat people.
I agree with that.
Obviously, the skating world, the business side of skating, is a very, very weird world. There's a lot of conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of controlling. There's not a lot of options. I mean by that, it's not like baseball where you have 30 teams. If it doesn't work there, I'll go there. You can only, I'm sure I can't use this word on TV, but you can only, you know, make people mad so much. I don't know if that makes sense. You know, you can't, because at one point you have no place to turn around.
You can't burn too many bridges.
You can't burn any more, you know, more than there is. So one thing we sure learn in this is when an agent tells you, and kids, listen to me, let me be the bad guy, run, because he represents you. And by representing you, he represents you in the way he acts. That means he represents you. If he's cocky, you're cocky. It's not, oh, David and Jamie's agent is asking too much money. It's Jamie and David are asking too much money.
So we were titled the gold diggers.
I think you need, as a representative, somebody that have the same beliefs as you, same values as you, that represents you the way you want to be represented, with class, treat people with dignity, with class, with respect, and it should all be fine from there. Even if the guy doesn't know skating or not, because he represents you at the end of the day. Not if he's a bad guy, then you're the bad guy too.
Well, I think we've kind of covered the Olympic thing. So let's take a little break. We've got a lot more to talk about, and we'll come back in just a few minutes.
Part 2 of our extended interview with Jamie Salé and David Pelche.
Back with Jamie and David. We kind of did the past thing. Now let's move forward. You spoke earlier before the break that you are definitely professional. Does that mean no more eligible stuff at all, ever? Uncle? Was that a hard decision? Obviously not.
Well, it wasn't, because you know what? We had accomplished our ultimate goal, like I've talked about, and it was, I mean, obviously it was kind of tough in a way that we've been skating for so long. So it's
yeah, but together for such a short time.
Right, and well, we've been skating together for a long time, but together for a short time, exactly. And so we're like, you know what? Maybe we do have a couple more years in us, but what for? I mean, we don't need to win another world medal to become a better person. And we feel we've learned so much in the last 4 years together. We've had, you know, some lows and some highs, and we've learned so much through them. And we just felt, you know, with what's happened at the Olympics, with a great skate, we wanted to get out on a high. you know, your best performance, and it doesn't get any better than what we did. So we just said, you know what, I think we obviously took time to decide it. We didn't just sit down, like I said, in 1 minute and say, okay, that's it. But, you know, we just...
It fit perfectly in our life plan, you know?
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, we are figure skaters, but like I said before, we're also human beings, and what do I want to do after I'm done skating? And when do I want to start that? And how long do I want to skate for? And do I have am I going to have a long pro career? And all of this put together is the best time to make a decision. And a lot of people ask me, are you sad it's over? And, you know, and I ask myself, why does, you know, hockey players, and I do have a lot of respect for people that goes through this, cries when they announce their retirement. They should be smiling because it happened, not cry because it's over, you know? Smile because you had the chance to do it. And the day I will hang my skates, I'll be smiling because I will feel lucky that I had the chance to do it.
I hope you're there, Debbie.
I hope so, too. I really
Just so we can see.
Well,
I'll be smiling.
Let me bring in another question. This is from Katie from Arlington, Massachusetts. What are the pros and cons of being professional skaters? Now, your pro career is still fairly young. Are you sensing
You had a taste of it.
goods and bads?
Oh, of course. I mean, there's pros and cons to of competing. It's definitely a lot of pressure, especially for us this last year. But turning professional now, we didn't realize how much hard work it is. I mean, obviously we didn't think it was just going to be a free ride and we were just going to coast and now we're Olympic champions and we can do whatever we want. But we were told, you know, rehearsals are hard and long and you're on the ice for a long time. But I tell you what, I mean, we were just dead. We were exhausted at rehearsals, and we had just our first show just recently, and...
With Stars on Ice.
So it's not as glamorous as
It's not.
as it might
and
look.
People don't realize what it takes to put that production on. It's not just a regular ice show that, you know, you have your, like you were saying, 25 skaters that come out and skate. It's a production. And we've had to work really hard at not only our personal numbers, but the group numbers and making this happen. And the travel, the schedule is, with our sponsorship appearances, we're all over the place. I mean, we're in Chicago one day, New York the next, and then back all the way to Dallas, and then out to New York, and then back to Edmonton for one day, train, quickly do another number, then to LA. I mean, it's just, we're like this. I mean, we've got a lot of air miles. But it's, you know, that's the only other thing. And I think, too, like you say, there's no routine anymore. But the good side...
I see that of all pros. Do you see that as cons or pros?
Pros or cons, goods or bads?
Well, I'm just kind of saying what it is.
What your daily life or daily
there's some
weekly.
of that can be a con, and some of it can be a pro. And I think that it's how you use it or how you see it. And we're having fun with it, but we also, on the other side of it, we didn't, you know, we were just, at times we're just like overwhelmed by it. And that can be exhausting, but at the same time, of course, I mean, I'm so happy doing what I'm doing. I'm loving it. Like, we've never had this much fun.
Yeah. The only thing I wish would be to spend more time at home. That would be the only thing. But the rest, oh, it's paradise.
Because
I love it.
training when we were amateurs was fun. Like, we enjoyed it, but it was just intense. It was a lot of pressure, and it was intense. It was the same thing, vigorous and, you know, all the time. And now, because we get to do so many different things too, it makes it
more enjoyable.
More enjoyable and challenging. And
do you find that the rehearsals for Stars and the ideas that Stars presented to you, have you found you've had to expand in your performance abilities? Like how?
Well, working with Christopher Dean, working with Sandra and Michael Siebert, Sandra Bizik, all new ideas, skating with Kurt, sharing the ice with Katerina Witt, sharing the ice with Alexei Yagodin, watching,
Milena and Anton,
listening, you know, taking it in, just makes you a better skater. Those group numbers, group production are not easy stuff. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of steps. It's you know, it's amazing. It's exactly where we want to be, and it made us, and it's making us better skaters.
What has Sandra taught you? What has Christopher taught you? Has there been something specific?
Well, it's hard to put our thumb on it right now because it's all brand new and it's all going so fast. You know, obviously, Laurie and Nicole took us to where we are right now. Whatever we're going to take from now on will be extra from anybody else. We've always been, always have our ears open to any other ideas. For me, working with Christopher was an incredible experience. I always looked up to him, looked up to his work. He's a genius.
Well, what do you expect to get out of this 4-year contract with Stars? I mean, I know you as homebodies, and I'm interested to see what you think about the grind of the tour.
Yeah, well, it's a very good question. We haven't had much experience with touring in the past. We did a few tours. We did a few tours, 15 shows there, 25 shows there, and 6 and 7 there, 60. Brand new experience. It will be, I mean, it's doable. People have been doing it for years. But that's a very, very good question, Debbie.
72, actually.
72, yeah. It's a very good question. I love being home. I guess it's going to be about managing your time, and you know you're doing this for only a period of time. And it's not the end of the world. You are still doing what you love to do. It's only for a short period of time in your life, and you're paid really well to do it.
And I would think you would both include other things in your life besides that.
Oh,
you
for
have to.
sure.
Yeah.
You have to have a balance.
Yeah.
I mean, you go crazy. Not to say that skating is terrible and makes you become
Dull.
mad or dull, yeah, but you need a balance in your life, and obviously that's what the off season's all about. But I mean, we've got sponsorship deals that we go and do appearances, and we're trying to think. We're brainstorming right now on all kinds of areas we'd like to branch out to, whether it's clothing or it's
Whether Dave's
our
going to
new
be a
skate.
fireman. Or...
He wants to be a fireman.
Yeah, that would
I
be
can't
cool.
wait to see this. And you know what? I have to say this. I think he just wants to be on the fireman calendar.
There you go.
He'd be good. He'd be good.
He'd be great. He'd be the
We
best
can't
looking
wait,
one.
Dave.
If it's to raise money for some charity, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bring
you
on
give
the
a
whole-
notice here.
But we're doing portfolios now with our photographer, Jerry Thomas, and he's doing an amazing job of developing us into different people, too. Skating is great, too, and that's what our #1 priority is right now, but there's also a future, hopefully, outside of skating, and we don't know in exactly what right now, but you'll have to keep the doors open for anything.
Now, it's so strange that all of the Olympic stuff, and suddenly here you are in Stars on Ice with Elena and Anton. Do you get to do something together?
We're skating a number with them and Todd Eldridge, actually. It's been interesting because now that we've actually done our first show, we've actually read some of the comments that people have said about it. And it's to sing, 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 to make it light and fun. David and I come out in the first 2 minutes and we skate, and then they come out and do their 2 minutes, and then we come out together at the end. And meanwhile, Todd Eldridge is skating through the whole thing, and he's reading, well, not reading, but he's memorized a poem, reciting a poem, a beautiful poem, a really neat poem, actually, about life and about all of our journeys. And people perceive it to be about the controversy because of a couple lines that Todd says. But, maybe it is sort of going there, but it's not only about that. And that's what Sandra and Michael and Christopher wanted us to all know, was that, this is about everybody's journey and how hard it is to stand out in front of all the people, and you can't judge me. And there's just some really neat things that he says in there. And I mean, obviously we're not hearing it very well because we're skating and we're focused on what we're doing, but it's very special. And to share the ice with them is really cool because, they get off from their 2 minutes and then they have like a 20-second break and we're standing there with water. Here, guys, catch your breath and let's go. We got to go again.
We're developing a very interesting chemistry.
Yeah.
It's fun because we learn how to know them. In competition, you have your walls up. You're very busy on your job, and now we've been sharing road trips with them, and we've been sharing the ice with
funny.
them. And Anton is a very funny person. Elena she's starting to talk more, and she's very quiet.
Yeah, she's
but
quiet.
she's also very, very smart person.
Yeah.
And it's great. And the program it's made, the way it's showing us off, I think it's beautiful. And in the end,
It's very powerful. It's fast.
at the end of the day,
It's like-
nobody can judge you.
Well, we have one more question, and you know what that question is. This one is from Sarah from Ontario. She doesn't give her town. Hey, I was wondering if there are any plans for marriage. You get that one much?
Since the Olympics, all of a sudden everybody wanted to know when we were going to get married, but nobody asked us before. I don't know. I guess the Olympic medal brings marriage.
Apparently.
Apparently.
That's the next step, but
Well,
no.
I'll leave that answer to you.
Yeah,
I guess you're going to have to propose,
I
Jane.
guess so. Well, it's 2002. I mean, no, sorry, Sarah, but we haven't made any plans. But you know what? We're having fun right now. We don't have time, and we're enjoying each other right now as it is, and we want to leave it at that.
Well, both of you, thank you so much for spending time with us. We look forward to seeing you on the ice.
Thank you.
Those two must wake up and wonder some days if they've created their own Truman Show or they've been involved in this massive soap opera. If we sat here a year ago and talked about Salé and Pelletier and even predicted what would have happened, you would have looked and said, nah.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Who could have ever imagined? And that was part of the interest in talking to them now, was to ask them, could you ever have imagined what happened? I mean, it was such a turnover in history. Nothing like that had ever happened in the Olympic Games before. And there we were sitting, watching it all unfold, two Canadians.
Yeah, what I find very fascinating, and maybe most fascinating about how that has turned, is that those four people involved have 4 gold medals, forever connected by the darkest hour of skating, arch rivals who have now become friends.
It was wonderful to hear them talk about Elena and Anton, and wonderful to think that they have forged this friendship and have come to know each other better, and to appreciate the talents that they each have. I was impressed to think that maybe Jamie and David had changed a little bit from the wonderful, fresh youngsters that we had known earlier, and to discover that they are still those same people who have had some very trying times over the last many months. I don't know, it made me feel kind of good.
And they will skate here this afternoon and tonight on CTV. The Pairs short program from Red Deer in a moment. Red Deer, the hometown of Jamie Salé. And of course, they live and train now in Edmonton, Salé and Pelletier. LaRiviere and Faustino will skate second. Yuka Sato and Jason Dungeon of the United States third. Only 3 teams. The good news is if you finish last, you still get a bronze medal.
I like that. Jamie and David, of course, competing for the first time since the Olympic Games. And it's been quite interesting watching the 6-minute warm-up unfold. It's been like the dueling side-by-side triple toe loops. So although it is a pro-am and it does not figure into overall standings in the world, there's all the electricity of a regular event.
Salé and Pelletier, of course, Olympic champions, former world champions, and you talk about the triple jump. It's always the barometer for any of the pairs, and LaRiviere and Faustino, of course, have to go through that dilemma now, as do all the young pairs teams. But that was also an Achilles heel for a long time of Jamie Salé's during her competitive amateur career.
And certainly not because she was not capable. Same here with Jacinthe Larivière. Perfectly capable, skillful when it comes to doing the triple jumps. It's when you think about the nerves and suddenly all of your best skills seem to disappear. Yuka Sato and Jason Dungeon, husband and wife. Yuka, the former 1994 world women's champion.
That was the Surya Bonnelly
Yes,
year,
when
wasn't
she
it?
refused to, or she took the medal off when she was on the podium. She and her husband, Jason Dungeon, a former U.S. pair skater, have teamed up and are doing a lot of work They will all have to do the 8 required elements. It's the same group as for eligible competition: the star lift, a double twist, any double or triple throw jump, a double or triple side-by-side solo jump, solo spins, a pair combination spin, a forward inside death spiral, and a spiral step sequence.
So here we go. Easily the most compelling story in the sports world of 2002. Of course, the year in review shows will begin shortly, and no doubt the Salt Lake City story was the story.
One thing at a time.